What is up, beloved audio slaves? It is your boys from Destral, here to bring you our very first tier list.
Boys from Destral? The heck kind of name is that?
My studies have yielded that our group should have a name. I don't see you bringing one to help, so I have to do it myself.
Yes, brother. Know your place.
Oh, like you did anymore.
Who do you think procured the films for us to watch?
I thought the big man did that. This is his idea after all.
Have you forgotten that I am busy right now? Studying the inner workings of the Hogyoku and how it may allow me to access the Infinity Stones. What time would I have for that?
Enough time for this.
Silence. Or should we remind you that the entire reason this is needed is because you tried to purchase an android?
I'm still willing to take you on, Antroz. Trial by combat.
Children, stop it or I won't buy you ice cream.
Ice cream? There's ice cream to this?
No, but you won't shut up otherwise. Anyway, today we are going to begin ranking the 9 Star Wars films. They are science fiction movies set in a galaxy far, far away.
What about the long time ago part?
For the humans, it may have been that long. But for us, it was like yesterday. Time is relative for beings pushing 198,876.
You don't look a day over 180,000, Antroz.
Enough. Let us begin. We are going in order of release, so we'll begin with the original film from 1977, Star Wars, more commonly known today as Episode 4, A New Hope. Personally, I believe this was a magnificent film.
Oh yeah, there's no question about that. I don't think I've seen a sci-fi film before that drew me in as well as this one did. That Lucas guy must have been trend-chromed, because he made a world so vivid and realistic. I'm gonna be disappointed if there isn't one like this out there when we break through into the multiverse.
It was a stroke of brilliance making Star Wars feel like a lived-in and used world as opposed to a shiny, clean, and sterile aesthetic like the films at the time would go with. This movie truly broke boundaries.
Yeah, like the space battles. Sheesh, those were cool. We've been building any fighters like that?
We might have.
Who needs them? We're living TIE fighters anywho.
Indeed. But what did you think of the story and characters?
I enjoyed them. The story of Luke Skywalker going from a simple farm boy to the hero that saves the galaxy is both entertaining and relatable. Well, the latter is more for a human maybe, but I still see it. And the rest of the cast is great too.
Han Solo is a perfect devil-may-care character, and his partnership with Chewbacca was valued. The droids were also good comic relief and played their parts well enough, and Princess Leia was a formidable presence for what you might expect. However, my standout was Obi-Wan Kenobi. The man truly felt like a veteran of this world, and his place both as a mentor to Luke and the give of exposition worked to a T.
He said just enough about the lore of this world that we got engaged and informed, leaving us both satisfied and wanting more. Especially when it came to the Dark Lord of the Sith himself, Darth Vader.
Oh yeah, Vader is great. He totally takes over any scene he's in. and you can feel his presence like a looming shadow.
You knew when he faced off with Obi-Wan on the Death Star that the old man wasn't walking away from the fight. The look in his eyes of knowing this dreadful confrontation with his former apprentice was inevitable was striking.
If only the duel didn't look like two geezers fighting over the last pudding cup. Then it would be neat.
There is circumstance both in and out of universe to explain that. I told you when you messaged me the first, second, and third time.
Right. And I guess this isn't Vader's film. It's Luke's. And in the end, he got his moment to lead the charge and blow up the Death Star. Awesome.
Indeed. I can't help but admit I was cheering for him. Han coming back was also great, especially considering his earlier stance. Character growth is always satisfying to watch.
And in the end, Luke, Han, and the rest all got their credit as the saviors of the galaxy. Great ending to a great film.
Indeed. So, my brothers, where would this film sit on the list?
Is there anywhere else it could go but S tier?
Yeah, this movie was just that film. No if, and, or buts.
I see. I myself might put it in A tier because of films after, but...
No, S tier, or I burn your eyeballs out.
This might be the first time I agree with him, but I do. Episode 4 must be in S tier. That is truth that cannot be denied.
Then there it shall go. The benchmark is already at the summit, so can the next one meet its lofty standards?
Yes!
I am inclined to agree. For now, we come upon the film that is regarded as Star Wars royalty. Episode 5, The Empire Strikes Back.
Holy jeez. If you asked me what film might encapsulate the best of what human imagination can come up with, I'd show them this. It's a masterpiece.
Indeed. The amount of giga-chadness this movie contains is something the likes of which have hardly been achieved again, even in this film series.
Well, let's talk about it. First of all, it's got a much darker tone than the first movie, and I think that helps it tell a more complex story. Kind of like in Harry Potter, where you grow up along with it. Empire is showing Luke and the gang moving along on their quest to save the galaxy. Little do they know they kicked the hornet's nest by destroying the Death Star.
The film is well titled. With a move by the rebels already put out, the Empire comes in swinging for the second round. And it hurts.
Yeah, Hoth was such a great part of the movie. Not only was the planet just a cool-looking place, covered in ice with awesome creatures, but that battle. Oof. I dare you to name a more exciting setting.
I thought it was pretty exciting when you fought in the Battle of Hanatar.
Oh, not this again. I told you that it wasn't my fault. How was I supposed to know that a toe of magnetism, gravity, shadow, and Takanuva would get me after he made them invisible? It was literally impossible for me to see coming.
Oh, really? Sounds like a skill issue, my friend.
I'll show you a skill issue!
And here I was thinking you could go the whole video without fighting.
Shouldn't have been a surprise. You know what is surprising? This movie. It really doesn't stop. you'd think Hoth would be the best part, and it is the best action. But after that, there's all kinds of good moments, action or otherwise. Like there's the asteroid chase, the Minox and the cave worm, the summoning of the bounty hunters, and then just everything about both Cloud City and Dagobah.
Indeed, both places teach the valuable lesson to not judge a book by its cover. Luke arrived on the swamp planet believing he'd be in search of a grand and beholden master of godlike stature, only to be met with a Muppet. Conversely, Han and his group thought they'd be walking into the open arms of friends, only to shortly be met with a cruel reality check. Brilliant theming, if I do say so myself.
Speaking of themes, this is something we didn't talk about in A New Hope, but I must give it the due respect now. The score for these movies is immaculate.
I agree, 100%. Every Star Wars has a great and memorable soundtrack, and I think that Empire might have the most iconic one of them all. There's so many good ones.
If I dare say like the kids do now, this film is loaded with certified bangers.
I shall allow it, only because it is true. The music adds a magic to the film that I believe you couldn't replace with any other means. It adds gravity to moments like Yoda lifting Luke's X-Wing, and even makes me tolerate the romance scene so that I don't die of cringe.
I just bear through it. Made the carbonite scene a bit more impactful.
Indeed. But now, I believe it's time we address the elephant in the film. The one thing we've been avoiding speaking about until we had a chance to give him the proper respect. Darth Vader.
Indeed, Lord Vader. Though it is tightly held in my grasp, I would not disagree that he is a worthy contender for the title of Darkest Lord. There is no denying the obvious. This is his film.
He's only in it for 11 minutes, but I can't even disagree with you. Darth Vader is the freaking goat of this movie. You really get a taste of what he's about. He's cunning, ruthless, powerful, and the amount of polish on his helmet is to die for. What? I can appreciate the finer things too.
I'll ignore that for the sake of time, because like Vader, I believe in getting things done ASAP. And you know when that black cloak floats in on screen, stuff is getting done, no question. Oh, and good luck if you come up unsuccessful. Apology accepted, Captain Nita.
The amount of quotable lines Vader has is remarkable. Not just in this film, but across the whole trilogy. To those film snuffs who like to point out the flaws in the writing of these films, I have something to say. Don't be too proud of this literary liaison you've constructed. The ability to make constant Shakespearean dialogue is nothing in comparison to the power of a Darth one-liner.
I find their lack of faith disturbing.
I had a thought. If Teridax is the Emperor, does that make me your Vader?
No. If I were to compare one of you to Vader, it would be Antroz. You are the Starscream to my Megatron.
Starscream. I respect his drive.
And?
That's it. Everything else can go to Karzani.
Shocking. but perhaps not as shocking as the bombshell thrown at the end of the movie. What a twist, as the meme goes, I believe.
Oh yeah, that was sure something. Believe you me, watching that scene come on with my boys was certainly a shock. We were all aghast with that drop.
Boys, what are you talking about?
My Rakshi, what else would I be talking about?
Why do you refer to them as your boys?
Because they are. The Rakshi are always called the sons of Makuta, and I view that statement as truth. I've got a special bond with all of them, and we watch these films for some quality father-son bonding time.
I want to ruin this, but some cosmic force of wholesomeness is keeping me from doing so. So I'll allow it.
They fight a lot harder with better dedication. I'm just saying.
Okay, good for you. However, I do have an issue with the fact that you all just glossed over the duel just prior to that reveal. Because by Otaka, that was a thrilling battle. Not only was it an improvement over the last film's battle, but the atmosphere, choreography, and dialogue were perfect for setting up the scenario. The rookie prodigy goes in with little more than his self-confidence to face an insurmountable object, only to find very harshly that he still has much to learn. You can literally feel Luke's mindset as he realizes that this was an enormous mistake. Such brilliance.
Yeah, he's had a good luck streak throughout the film. Notwithstanding getting blindsided by the Wampa, he destroyed an AT-AT by himself, took on Boba Fett for a bit, and thought he overcame his inner darkness in the cave. I'm not saying he had a swollen head, but he did bank a bit more on himself than he should have. And like you said, Antroz, you can feel all his ego deflate when he fights Darth Vader.
It reminds me of when Takanuva intruded my lair not a few hours after he first became a Toa. Like, I know it's a prophecy and all that, but quite literally you have no mastery of your abilities yet, and you think taking me on is a good idea. Yes, so brilliant.
But didn't he beat you either way? And so now, we see.
I see you needing limb replacement soon. But anyways, yes. Pandora's box is opened for Luke, and though he is offered the world by his own flesh and blood, the boy turns it down, choosing the side of the light rather than the dark. Don't feel too bad, Vader. I too know what it's like to have my goodwill refused.
Such is the folly of all heroes, I fear. But that's how it ends. Luke escapes thanks to the help of his friends and retreats, living to fight another day as the movie ends on perhaps the biggest cliffhanger in all of cinema.
Don't know why they had to do that. They knew we'd be back.
Indeed. So, my brothers, what do we give this film?
S tier, but above its predecessor, there is nothing more to say.
Once again, this butt kiss is correct. The Empire Strikes Back has no other place to sit than at the top. For now.
I find no disagreement. We crown this film the pinnacle of Star Wars films and move on to the final film of the original trilogy. Episode 6, Return of the Jedi. Gentlemen, thoughts?
Confusion. While it's not necessarily a bad movie, it genuinely confuses me, Like Return of the Jedi somehow succeeds at being both the darkest and most lighthearted film in the whole trilogy. Like one minute we have the seedy underworld of Jabba's palace with literal prostitution, torture, and a live execution for funsies, and then the next minute we have Ewoks. Now, the Ewoks have their own flavor of evil, but you get the point. I don't think the film knows what it wants to be.
It's trying to do the thing we talked about earlier, growing. This is the climax where Luke and the rest of us have reached the first steps into adulthood. We've tasted the good and the bad, and now we try and wield both to see where we line up. After all, young Skywalker flirts dangerously close to the dark side on many occasions.
It's something he shows great proficiency in, too. Honestly, if I didn't know more about the Jedi, I might even have sought him out as a vessel at this point. But you are right. This isn't the same farm boy we met in A New Hope. This is a slightly grizzled and jaded Jedi Knight who has the gumption to get things done.
Did you say gumption?
Did you say funsies?
Yeah, I did. Touché.
What I thought. Anywho, the film starts on one of the last movie's burgeoning questions. Though probably not the question. What happened to Han Solo?
Turns out, Boba Fett is a Mandalorian of his word. He said he would bring Captain Solo to Jabba, and that's where he's at. And despite many brave attempts to set him free, the heroes are unable to do so, only barely getting him out of the carbonite before being sentenced to death at the pit of the Carcoon.
Luckily, like me, Skywalker and his friends planned this all from the get-go, leading to an honestly swashbuckling battle scene.
Yeah, this is good. But the more I watch it, the more problems come about. Like, there's some obvious stuff that we could talk about, like Luke's infamous Force kick, the needless putting of Leia in that choice design, and the major disrespect to Boba Fett. But one of the more off-putting things I've come across is the whole deal with Han and Lando. Like, they just spent all that time in the prison scene establishing that he's gone blind, but in just 5 quick minutes, he's good enough to sharpshoot a tentacle off his friend. I mean, if it was one of us, or maybe Luke, I can understand. We have other senses and can see things without eyes. But just normal. No powers, Han. Lando is lucky he wasn't more food for the Sarlacc.
Well, I didn't expect that from you. But every dog has his day. Karma, I suppose. Much like how Jabba was eliminated in the end by his new trophy. Honestly, I feel no remorse for the Hutt. His death was welcome.
Indeed. And with his passing, the film moves along, introducing us to the one true villain of the series for the first time. Emperor Palpatine.
Oh yeah, for sure this guy's the real deal. When you've got Darth frickin' Vader on a leash, you know you're serious stuff. Mata Nui, what a dude. Name one person more evil than him.
Do not jest so offensively, Icarax.
No, I'll allow it. Though it's not shown in this trilogy, the cunning of Sheev Palpatine is by far one of the most impressive displays of evil genius I have ever seen. A worthy contemporary indeed.
I see, then.
Yeah, the dude just gives off the most sus vibes, like He shows up with a walking stick to kind of juxtapose Yoda, but you just know he doesn't need that crap.
Quite so. And speaking of Yoda, after leaving Tatooine and agreeing to meet up with his friends later, Luke goes back to Dagobah just in time for his little green friend to pass on. Only before he does, he gives Luke the answer to the question we've all been dying to know. Yes, Luke, Darth Vader is your father.
Jeez, imagine actually dying before seeing this movie. You'd never know.
Actually, if you sat down and thought about it, you'd realize that Vader could only be telling the truth. The prequels notwithstanding, it only makes sense for Vader to be Luke's father. A study of psychology and good literary knowledge of how stories work suggests that it would be simply stupid for that statement to be false. And Obi-Wan only confirms it when he reappears to console Luke afterwards.
He also drops another bombshell on Luke that really must have messed with him after the one scene in Empire.
Yes, we, don't talk about that.
Oh, really? I think we should, especially since Gorast exists.
Gorast serves a purpose. Her skills and devotion are valuable assets that I would rather not lose over something pedantic. If it helps, I do not share her views. I see this as just a tool, like I do most other things in my possession.
Sometimes I think I'm the only sane one in this group.
May we return to talking about Star Wars? Because after Luke returns to his friends, they immediately discuss their plan of attack. They discuss the new second Death Star that is leagues stronger than the first one, and how, through the sacrifice of many Bothans, they were able to once more acquire the blueprints for it. And if I didn't know what I know, I would criticize the Empire for poor document protection.
That's not important. What is important is that they also know that the second Death Star is still being constructed, and the only way past the shield is to blow up the base on Endor, a forest moon.
Oh my God, here we go.
Yes. We now approach your heavily bemoaned part of the film, Endor and the Ewoks.
Look, I got no problem with Endor. It's pretty cool. The speeder bike scene is excellent. What I do have issues with is the moment the film turns into a children's movie. Thanks to the introduction of man-eating teddy bears.
Okay, but hear me out.
No! I refuse to hear out any attempt to justify these furry vermin. As a matter of fact, you hear me out. I read somewhere that they were originally supposed to be Wookiees like Chewbacca. Now, how cool would that have been, to have Chewbacca reunited with his people? Maybe you could have a story where he's an outcast and they don't like him, but with the threat of the Empire, they have to put that aside and work alongside him. Now, that would be awesome.
I can't even lie. That is fire.
Dang straight it is. But instead of that, we got Yubba Dub Dubba Lub. I swear, if Teridax actually gets his multiverse scheme going, I will take my Rakshi to Endor so we can torch every single one of those little fear effects to ashes.
Are you quite finished?
Yeah, that was it.
Good. And since you mentioned your sons, now would be a great time to discuss the real conflict of the story. Vader and the struggle brought upon him by Luke. Since the end of Empire, Darth Vader's cold shell has been showing cracks. Perhaps the encounter on Bespin did more to him than to Luke, after all.
It can be seen that way. Vader does appear to lack the same resolve than the previous films. And when he confronts Luke, you can tell that the remnants of Anakin Skywalker still live on beneath his ebony prison.
Yeah, and it does carry the awkward emotion of an estranged father and son. After all, he just randomly starts talking about Luke's lightsaber out of nowhere. Wonder if he realized it was a replica of Obi-Wan's.
That was probably the least important thing on his mind at the time. After all, following Luke's removal from the scene, he goes over to the balcony and ponders for a moment, undoubtedly rethinking everything in his life up to that point.
But in the end, the pull that Palpatine has over him is too great, and he goes along the path his master has set, even when said plan involves him using Luke to replace him. It's almost sombering in a way. Like a person who's deep down in addiction, Vader might want to pull away from his master, from the darkness, but for so long, that's all he's known. It's going to take such a mighty pull to escape it.
And then when they do fight, they got Palps chirping in their ears every 5 seconds, goading the two Skywalkers to try and kill each other for his own benefit. Because, in his mind, this is a win-win situation. Either way, he's going to have a powerful apprentice standing at his side while the rebels are vanquished once and for all. Because, just like they did earlier in the film against Jabba, the rebels themselves have fallen into Palpatine's plan.
Yes. In a move that puts some things into perspective, he reveals that he purposefully allowed the rebels to obtain the blueprints so that they would launch a winner-take-all assault on him, only to realize at the last moment that the second Death Star was not only surrounded by the best of the Imperial fleet, but also actually operational, despite not fully constructed yet.
A bit risky, but I'll admit it's a good plan.
Yeah, and besides, the incomplete Death Star does look cool.
Well, yes, but that hardly has a bearing on things.
Of course it does. Coolness is an essential part of everything. Kinda why I haven't brought up Endor again, because if I did that, we'd have to talk about how a trained military force was completely routed by fricking Build-A-Bears with trees.
Are you saying that it's not possible for a native people to undercut invaders with their superior knowledge of the battleground and foreign strategy?
No, I'm not. In fact, I might buy it any other time. But Antroz, Ewoks.
I see we won't be convincing you anytime soon.
Dang straight. The only good thing that happens is that they do destroy that generator and turn off the shields, allowing Lando and the rest of the fleet to infiltrate the battle station and go for the kill. But at the same time, another hero goes for the kill, and that's Luke Skywalker when Vader goes to a no-no place.
Indeed, he believed that by threatening to corrupt his sister, whom would also be his daughter, that Luke would give in to his anger and strike out. And to his credit, it worked. Maybe a little too well, I might add.
Ah, but that was what Palpatine wanted. As we discussed, no matter which Skywalker lost, he won. But then, as Luke looked at his handiwork and saw that he and his father truly weren't so different after all, he chose the third option. he would stand firm and not take either of the roads. Much like Riku, he wouldn't be taking either of the clear, easy paths, but choose the middle and most difficult one. After all, he is a Jedi like his father before him.
Indeed. Plus, Kingdom Hearts is a good series too. We might consider covering it in the future.
Let's not and say we did. But either way, this isn't the answer Palps was looking for. And having been somehow beaten at this game, decides that it's time to get rid of Luke now that his usefulness is officially gone. And great beings, does he ever. At the time, this might have been the scariest Force power ever depicted. And the soundtrack, oh boy, the soundtrack. That choir rocks.
It is very good, but it has a purpose. It leads to the moment Darth Vader finally makes his decision.
Yeah, stay by his old hagfish of a master's side, or choose the only family he has left in the galaxy. Doesn't prove too hard when you think about it. Only, did the no screams feel kinda out of place?
I had no problem with them. They seemed to fit the purpose.
I believe there is a version without them, but either way, you get the point. Vader returns to the good side and destroys Palpatine, proving what Luke said when he told him that there was still some light in him.
And just in time, too! Because Lando and the boys make it to the center of the Death Star and blow up the generator. Which means it's time to haul butt out of there.
Yes. Time is of the essence, which is why Vader and Luke have an extended sequence where he asks him to remove his helmet so he can look upon his son with his own eyes.
You calling that scene bad?
No. Far from it. I'm just saying that in the time frame, it's not in a good spot. I understand that's not really any fault of it, so continue.
I will, because this scene is gold. Now, at the end of the line, Luke gets to peel back the cold, dark shell and see just exactly who lies behind the mask. And it's some pitiful old man. We see just how much Darth Vader is taken from Anakin. His health, his freedom, his soul, and his eyebrows.
But in the end, Luke managed to halt it, just before this wizened ghost of a man faded into nothing but his shadow. And he got to live just long enough to know his children. The last thing giving him a will to go on would be okay.
Vader returned to being what Obi-Wan described him as in the beginning of A New Hope. A Jedi Knight and a good friend.
Only if you ignore the years of war crimes he committed.
Which we are. We've done worse after all.
Confirmed. Though some of us do more than others, and without trying, I might add.
Say one more bad thing about my performance, Antroz. Do it! I will fill your bed with armor eating Minos worms.
Minos worms only eat inorganic material. I am currently in an organic body. You have no power over me.
Can we just finish then?
We shall. There's not much left of this film, but I do enjoy it. The Death Star is destroyed, and all the rebels celebrate in victory. We also see a conclusion to the Han and Leia romance dilemma, as Leia reveals that Luke is her brother, so there's nothing standing in the way for her and Han to hook up.
Good. Get that Lannister crap out of my Star Wars. And give me more scenes like Luke burning Vader's armor in memoriam of his father. What a great way to signal the end of the series. Vader literally burning away to show the beginning of a new era. What's that guy Mike Rosen say?
Nice.
And speaking of nice, I really like seeing the newer ending of the movie too. All the world celebrating the fall of the Empire. Sure, not a lot of those worlds would be important until the prequels came around, but it makes the event feel so much bigger. Like you feel as if Palpatine's death released the whole galaxy from oppression.
Because it did.
I was about to say that. Anyway, it was a lot better than the original ending. You all can sleuth out why I feel that way.
Ewoks. Seriously, they are not that bad.
So says you, O wise leader.
Moving on, Luke comes back and reunites with his friends. They celebrate, have some laughs as they embrace, and in the end, Luke looks out and sees 3 familiar faces looking on him with pride: Obi-Wan, Yoda, and his father. Anakin Skywalker is fully returned to the side of good. Roll credits.
And with that, we bring the original Star Wars trilogy to an end. How did we think it came to a close?
Good, but not as good as the other two. Like I said, the dichotomy of this film is...
No, that word is not to be spoken in reference to Star Wars.
The heck?
Trust me.
Okay then. But yeah, the film has some issues, but in the end, most of them are offset by its strengths.
I am inclined to agree. Return of the Jedi has both ups and downs. However, I truly doubt that many of them are enough to truly put this movie into a negative light.
What would you propose we give it?
I want to give it a C tier for the Ewoks alone, but I'll hear out what you all have to say, so long as it isn't defending those fuzzballs.
Given my thoughts on the film come together, I propose it receives an A tier. It hits good notes as it closes out the trilogy.
Yes, but in comparison to the others, I find those notes not as creative. Which, I get it. It has to wrap things up. Introduce too much, and you'd need a 4th film. Which we got, but that's for next time.
So what are we to do?
Go with my vote. It's the only logical solution.
I will make the decision. Based on even stats, I will place this film in B tier. That solves the problem straight down the middle. And that's that. The original Star Wars trilogy has been ranked. I feel we did a substantial job.
Yeah, for the most part we were all in line. I like this list so far. Can't wait to see how the rest of it turns out.
Indeed, I enjoyed making this with you both.
Well, I don't know about that. Let's just say I tolerate you.
Well, I must return to my duties now. But Master, I must ask. What will we do about the new problem in Ostania? That Spider-Man?
He has been making that operation a bit more difficult than I foreseen. I believe another Makuta may be needed to aid you. Icarax. You said you wanted a new siege assignment.
Wait, seriously? You're actually gonna let me get my claws dirty?
Affirmative. You are to go to Ostania and help Antroz with this Spider-Man. I need you to take human form via use of the vitae that Mutran and Icarax have prepared and get rid of him without bringing too much attention. Is that feasible?
Can you kill a toe of fire by trapping him in a vacuum? Yeah, the answer is yes.
Good. Then go forth and do not disappoint.
Disappoint is the last thing I'll do when it comes to this. Oh, and I see the madmen just sent me the details. Let me see. Ah! Your forger. I see. Never heard of him, but the name sounds cool. I'm sure he's the toughest of the tough. That spider won't know what hit him.
Indeed, he shall not.
Antroz. I'll see you soon, brother. Don't get too envious at how kick-butt I'm gonna be.
Master, I must say, that was truly evil.
Yes, it was. But in all seriousness, we mustn't lose the assets this world has to offer. My plans depend on them, and even more so their stealthful extraction.
I understand. I shall not fail you. Antroz out.
You shall rue the day. Matanui. You shall rue it indeed.
Man, Art, come on and check out this lame server.
Now, King. It's not very Sigma male to throw shade on someone's server like that.
Whatever. It isn't Sigma male for them to not welcome a new member either. Now, I swear the jerks in this server are ignoring me on purpose. Come on, man. I need you to back me up here.
Well, you know I'm always on your side, King. But you gotta keep in mind that maybe the other Giga Chads in this server aren't active, so they don't realize we've joined.
Yeah, sure, whatever. Wait, are you driving?
Yes, King Racing, actually. I'm on that Tokyo Drift grind set 24/7.
Art, what car are you in?
I don't know, King. Some kind of sedan. Don't know what brand either. It's got this unfamiliar logo like an alien robot mask. Looks really cool, though. The radio says Mirage on it, so that's pretty neat.
Let me know how that goes for you. Anyway, as I was saying, look, dude, there is literally nothing here. Empty gaming chat, empty meme chat, empty food chat. Heck, they even have a vent chat with nothing in it.
Dead server, maybe? Who knows? Maybe these Giga Chads have been waiting for a fellow Giga Chad to come and help them revive their server. That could be you, King.
You might be onto something. I'll revive these jerks server, alright. In fact, I'll just flood their main chat with Fortnite dancing Peter Griffin.
No, King, don't do it! Spamming isn't Giga Chad behavior.
Icarax, I told you to keep this Fortnite crap out of my server. It's only slightly worse than that.
Oh crap.
Who are these foolish children? And why are they audacious enough to spam within the bounds of my domain?
Hey, King. Name's Artal Corazon. And this is my boy Gray. What's yours?